live video so you can see what's going on. For whatever reason, we're having some technical challenges, but you know, that sort of happens with everything. So we're going with the flow and trying to connect and make sure that we get the information out to you on a weekly basis as the information continues to flow. So I just want to say hi to my guests and say hello, JP. How are you?
Hello, my dear. How are you?
Good. And hello, Captain Max. Are you there?
Shall I just bring him in? He's
Yeah.
not in the call yet, but let me,
Okay.
if I just click this button here and turn this knob here and adjust this pyramid here and this tetrahedron over here. Captain Max Steele, are you receiving? Not yet. Oh, hang on. Yeah. I heard something. Max, are you there?
I'm here.
Yay. Hey, brother.
Hello, Max.
Well, how you doing, Jessica? We're not going to do video today.
We're having some technical challenges, and for some reason, we did a test to get into the Google Video app, and the app was not working when I went to go back there again. So we tried multiple times. It's about 20 minutes into the show already, and people that have tuned in probably are thinking that we're not having a show. So I wanted to get on and make it happen either way. So that's what we're doing, and JP is doing everything he can to help out.
I'm going to have a signal sent to the system, so we can get this going here.
Okay. I also want to say that we had a fantastic, time on your show last night.
Yeah, the dog was really excited about it as well.
The dog's excited about it, JP. We had the 2 hours of, there was a little exchange that we did last night regarding a metal box that has to do with some historical records. And then after that, we had an incredible visit from the Echoes. And so if anyone hasn't heard about, didn't listen in last night, please go back to the archives and listen to this show. It was really fantastic. And I'll say it was a double show. It was 4 hours of information. So, and it was a pleasure being on your show last night, Max.
You're welcome.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to stay within the frame of our regular format, and we have information that came through from Metis, and also, within Metis is a little bit of Borkum and also Andronicus, but it's a very short piece of Andronicus. And then I have kind of a longer statement from Rhodan, and we'll probably read Rhodan last, but maybe we can begin, and then Max, as you're listening in between sets, if you want to make any comments or say anything or what your thoughts are, that'd be really nice.
Okay.
But please, Max, while I'm doing any reading, I know you got lots of background sounds. Could you mute, do Control M, just completely mute your mic?
That's what I'm going to do now.
Thank you very much, brother. Okay, so where do we start? Now, remember, everybody, I am doing this cold, right? So any complete cock-ups that I make, it's not because I haven't rehearsed. It's because I haven't rehearsed. Okay, so this is what is true avant-garde. Nobody has ever done this before, ever, in the history of. Well, in the history of recorded history, live on the air, people I don't know. This is unique.
It's a cold read. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, deep space. Oh, I got a deep space sound. Let's see if I can bring in some deep space sounds and see if we can have fun with this. Where was it? Where was it? Outer space. There we go. Outer space. So here's the sound effect of outer space, folks. You really can't hear it at all.
No.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. No, I can't hear it. Oh, hang on. That's because these headphones have got... Oh, that's better. It's quiet out there, isn't it?
Yes, it's very quiet.
Well,
Hear the sounds of the moon.
Yep, that moon is so... All right, hang on, let's see. Are there any spaceships passing by? There.
We'll have to check in with Max. He might have his
Oh, yeah, there was
here.
a spaceship. There we are.
Yeah.
Listen, they're saying there's no sound on Wolfbear Radio.
Really?
Yeah.
They're not listening. No, there is. Let me just check on my player here, and I'll tell you in 5 seconds whether we are out. I mean, we have had so many things that go on. Yeah, buffer 27, 31. There's a very slow buffer coming up here.
Something strange going on.
There's loads of strange things going on. Yeah, that's funny. So I'm just going to do a refresh on the server. Yeah, but... Oh, it's just coming in.
To Wolf Spirit Radio.
There we go. They're just coming in. So, welcome everybody. So they're just hearing music because they're just playing out the buffer of the studio. Now I can go back. Okay. All right. Okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. So I got my guitar here, and I have the Andronicus papers, and I will see. So do you want to do the Metis transmission first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start with Metis.
Yeah, because Andronicus 29 starts with Metis, doesn't it? Is it 29 or did you send me 29?
It was 39. I sent you 29 by accident, so it's 39 that you're looking for.
Oh, right. So
I sent that as well.
All right. So let me just close that and get that. Well, I'll do Metis and we'll do this. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, have I got that's what we want. We want sort of a medieval kind of, let's see. This is pretty medieval. There we go. Metis. Help me. I'm in dire straits again. There is a noose awaiting my presence, and I am soon to be hung. The only thing I know is that I was betrayed by a man, or a woman, I'm not so sure yet. At this point, none of it matters. I am free of it all in my mind. How many times must I tell them that I was here to serve the kingdom? And instead they have me partitioned as an anarchist, as a rebel of the most sacred vows of sovereignty and devotion to King George III. I merely asked about the freedom of the commoners to believe as they so chose to believe. I asked for a fair wage and bread for all. Now, here I am, without a pot to piss in, on cold, dank cell full of hungry rodents and vermin-infested puddles of water. I cannot leave because I chose this tour. I asked to see this through. The only thing that could have gone wrong is that there was a liar amongst me. Someone betrayed my trust and sent me to the gallows. It was probably that she-devil no less, who witnessed me move through the portal. I have reasons to believe that she is betraying my trust, even still as I await sure death. Something has run amok. She was a buxom beauty, but so were the others, only they didn't have the greed for power as she did. Now here I am alone and without a friend who will hear me. Maybe I can get a key to drop just so, and I shall be on my way. Sound effects.
The sounds of something breaking a wall of stone with a strong hammer. Metis squinted his eyes to see past the bars and into the other chamber where the sound was coming from.
Pray tell, who goes there? Perchance you shall find a friend behind bars who is in desperate need of rescue.
The noise stopped and Metis pressed his face up against the bars, hopefully awaiting the visit entering the prison. He knew it was too premature for his scheduled hanging, and he hoped a break was more in order. The door opened with a loud creak, and then there stood a large silhouette of a man.
Metis, you are floundering again. How can I dispense of your dis-ease? Here then, Borkham pulled out a set of keys and opened the door. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Metis followed him out, and the wall became a purple shade of neon light as they passed through the portal. They both ended up on Jupiter. Looking around, Metis beheld the landscape and strange structures.
What in habitats is this?
Metis partially covered his eyes from the light. He had been in darkness for too long, and light strained his eyes too strongly for him to perfectly see.
Tell me this is a dream. However lovely can a beautiful paradise as this be? I am in awe of the magic and luster of these things. I've been searching you for a long time. Why have you been hiding, posing as a human peasant? You made yourself almost obsolete and blended in with the society so well I could hardly recognize you. If you had passed out, I would have overlooked your presence and dug deeper into another reality. Hear me out now. Forget about the human race for now. They are foolish and untrained in our knowledge, and you have opened up precious information to ignorant fools who you entrusted. That woman, Abigail, she shall hang in your place today. I saw she entered the vault and used our knowledge to harm others as well as you. How could you be so foolish? She tricked me as a fanciful barmaid. I felt sorrowful over her hardship. Have you forgotten everything? Could you not read her intentions? It was as plain as day. Come now, Metis. Your sense of knowing has faltered and grown so dim. I'm almost questioning whether or not this is you. Let me see your eyes. You have removed your power on your own, I see. I wanted to know what it was like, truly, to be human, to be deceived, mistreated and the like, to know all aspects of the human experience. I felt heartache and sorrow. My head lay heavy on the lap of a maiden who openly rejected me and mocked me. My heart broke. I was betrayed sundry times, and my lips did bleed from many brawls with street derelicts and drunkards of mixed bitters and more. Even my former dealings are as a distant dream to me. I am forlorn and heavy-hearted. I awaited my death. You cannot die as the others, you fool. Do you realize you would have broken the breach of contract by revealing your immortality? They would have cast you as the most morbid of witchery or tempest alchemist sorcerer. Alas, you sorrow fellow, know not whence your kingdom comes from. It is not on planet Earth. They are the learners. They should be learning a higher note from your song. You should be you should not be learning how to dig up the dregs of sorrowful, unlearned beings. Tell me, Borkham, that is your name, isn't it?
Borkham nodded his head in frustration.
I pray thee, what land is before us?
Metis waved his hand to express the expansiveness and grandeur of Jupiter.
You are on Jupiter, Metis. By the way, what is the name Metis? A surname or slander? According to your tone, that name is not savory or desirable for any fool. That is your real name, not Crispin or whatever silly name you have acquired along the way. The last I heard of you, you were a dalliance, enticing the lot of them. Now you couldn't convince a simpleton if you desired. I am bringing you to your people. The encampment is not far from here. Do you remember the Andromedans? No, it's a strange name. I've not likeness to them, I'm certain of that. Just be quiet and observe. I will explain your status, and they will care for you and share details of your prior experiences. It is as simple as laying before a fire like a bard at nightfall, sharing stories and songs to comfort the people. Oh, I should like that, and a warm gin if I may. We don't drink gin here. It is not soluble to our extremities. We have an alternative elixir you will find much more desirable and agreeable to your physiology.
They both came up over a bend in a small rise to find a deep dip in the land where a large community of Andromedans were staying. The encampment of small huts and small fires made it inviting to Metis. He fled down the hill without hesitation, hoping to encounter food, warmth, and lodging. Everything recognized him Everyone recognized him as he moved down the hill, and each came out to greet him. All called him Metis, while Andronicus stood a distance away, suspecting he was there to make waves and cause dissension. After a while, Metis could feel a cold, hard stare coming from Andronicus and Sarius. They were not open to his visit there on Jupiter. Andronicus then observed Borkum not far behind him. Their eyes met and nodded in a way that everything was okay. After a light discussion, it was apparent to Andronicus that Metis was not only harmless, but had forgotten much of who he was. The dissension and rebellious attitude was altogether absent. Turning back to speak with Borkum.
Yeah, all right.
I forgot something.
Oh, right, Metis. All right, Metis comes right. I forgot something. My lyre and my pocket full of gold. I was invited to go to France and then Spain. I'm not fit to stay amongst these creatures. They're above me in so many ways. I shall sink into this hard shell of an earth.
Metis kicked the ground that seemed as rugged as a man-made brick.
Oh, but we have libations awaiting us. Come forth and see the food and levity that is about to happen. I told them you would entertain them a bit. Here, a stringed instrument of your liking.
Borkum pulled back the tent and revealed the beautiful gold-plated harps, lyres, viols, and other stringed instruments in grand handles at length. Metis was mesmerized by the bounty of musical instruments, and he pulled back his sleeve before reaching for a perfectly fitted instrument that rested on his lap with multiple strings.
Ah, sweet solace.
He strummed, and a group circled around him to hear his strumming and songs.
Filius, sweet Filius, of love and kindness, I fly to upper ground to see without blindness, blessed truth of bounty and promise. I shall be filled and suspended in time with my chalice. True surrender, here my heart's not breaking. I find kind kinship upon my waking. Lift me now to heal my heart. Once aching, I am open now to feel my bones unbreaking. Swelling up. Come now, let's venture off to our next journey. I seek a hope to no longer feel this burning. My renewed strength of cockles and bitter learning has brought me freedom, free with painless returning.
So after this, Metis was brought to a hut where he was examined and taken care of until night's end. Waking up in the morning, beginning to remember who he was once again. Metis.
So, there you go. Max is completely confused. He's never experienced this before. This is live, channeled theatre pantomime radio play thing. What can I say? Jessica, can you just explain how this happens? Just explain. I've just got to get my guitar and my headphones untangled here.
Okay. So what happened was it started off with Andronicus telling me the story about his challenges, and then these other characters arrive, and then before you know it, these other characters started to connect with me independently. And so Metis was an Andromedan who was involved in time travel, and as you can see, he's traveling into the Middle Ages, and he keeps on returning to the Middle Ages. He seems to like that time period. Much of the time he was a troubadour, loves to just play music, isn't very materialistic, and he could have a lot of power if he wanted, but chooses to kind of intermingle with the people, kind of wants to be human in a lot of ways, wants to experience different things because the humans appreciate him and his music and some of the different things that he gets into. Sometimes he, can jump into the future and then, adjust things, whereas we actually saw Metis was connected to Prince Charles and Lady Di, and he kind of coupled those two together in an earlier lifetime. So there's different things like that seem to occur. One incarnation that he experienced was that of Francis Bacon, he said. So, but he didn't like it. He didn't like any of that. He thought, they made fun of him, often. He wanted to see what it was like to be humiliated, to feel and experience what humans do. He didn't like the idea that he knew everything. He could read everyone. And so, this is kind of the state where he was at. And then he was finally almost close to breaching, what he was up to when, Borkum actually stepped through. And Borkum seems to be another traveler who, can go way into the future, but is also, there to support what's going on and keep everything private about their, interactions. So it's a kind of a testimony of a time traveler, but who is originally Andromedan. He's not human. He's not a human time traveler, but an Andromedan one. So, JP, you still there?
Yes. Well, there you go. And the thing about Metis is that he makes up songs. He makes up these impromptu songs, and so I've had to I started out just reading one guy, this Andronicus fellow, who turns out to be all sorts of other personages in history as well. And, and Jessica said, could you read this? Cause it's a male voice, and that's it. It's not cause I'm not an experienced actor at all, but like I said last night.
But you naturally transform into these characters.
Well, I do voices.
You get right into their energy field and become them. You sound like them and actually have the sentiment of their expression as I hear it. So it's like they're channeling through you as far as how they felt, and you're bringing that energy in so people can experience it as I'm experiencing it when I'm writing it.
That's very interesting. So it's like you're taking the left brain part of this, and then I'm sort of coating it with the right brain part of it, the feeling, yes. the sentimental part. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. That's an interesting way of working as well, isn't it? Of creating something, or in fact, it's like we're not really creating it. It's just like this is like it's like you're watching a TV program almost, but it's live and interacting with you, and you're part of it.
But that's how they talk. Yeah, that's how they talk. They're like, bringing me into a certain time period, and they're saying this is what's going on right now, and it's almost like maybe it's a stream of consciousness. Whether they're fully aware at all times that I'm listening and I'm talking to them and trying to help them. Mm-hmm. And, saying, well, what's going on? Explain this. And sometimes they're talking directly. And, a lot of times, Metis and Andronicus seem to be in some type of hot water, or they're getting into something, or they're in the process of learning. Whereas Rhodan will come through and he's there to make a statement. He doesn't need to learn anything. He's there to just say whatever he thinks will benefit us and help us to gain some insight. And Rhodan has a message for Max today, or at least he's reaching out to Max. Mm-hmm. So that's why I thought, well, it makes sense to have Max here. Mm. So I don't know if you can hear us now.
So, Max is it seems, there's a little bit of confusion going on here. So a little bit of distress about it. So, the one thing that we can say is that these beings who we're talking to here, are what Andrew Bartzis has called unentangled, is that they appear to be beings to us, but they're more like energetic, collective consciousnesses. Yeah.
We're going to ask Max what he thinks.
Let's ask Max. Yeah, but Max, do you want to unmute for a moment and join the table?
Well, I'm a bit confused. I didn't know what was going on here.
So what was happening to you? What was your experience?
Well, I was getting, when you were explaining everything, I was very confused, and I'm still confused.
Well, as we said before, it's unique. You've really never heard anything like this before, because
they're pulling me in real time. So say, for example, you're going through a situation and, you're, in a relationship with someone and then you're going to get a divorce and then and then there's a car accident. So that's the real time experience. So I'm picking up their real time experience. In the case of Metis, he's letting me know what's going on around him at that present moment, exactly at that time that we were connecting. And the first time I connected with him, he went by the name of Rupert. It seems like he changes his name. This last time he changed his name to Crispin. So he's like an immortal that keeps reinventing himself throughout the Middle Ages multiple times in other locations.
And that's exactly the story of Francis Bacon.
Yeah. So, and when I first met him, he was complaining because he was married to a woman who was human, and she was complaining that he was constantly sitting in his room. He was sitting on his bed that was, full of hay, like one of those stuffed hay beds, and he was like, he looked like he was meditating, but I think he was preparing to do time travel, and his wife was angry that he was constantly in his room and not out working like the other men. And so it became a very bitter event because he was trying to get away from her. She didn't understand what he was going through. At first he was engaged with her, engaged like emotionally and enjoyed being with her. And then after a while, just like anything, even humans have problems in relationships, so even more so because there's this disconnect. He came through. And so, it sounds like a fantasy, but this is a real time experience for him. He was stuck. He was trying to get out, and so then they pull him into, Jupiter. So that's where they end up, and a bunch of them ended up going there. A few of them were elsewhere, but they're not in the same form as us. So however they're transporting, it seems to be through this, it looks like purple smoke or something like that, or a mist. I don't understand it completely, but.
That's a plasma confinement beam.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what, Max, would you recognize that, form of, vortex generation?
I do, but, I tune into many things and I analyze what I'm listening to. But for now, I just have to understand what the story's about and what's being said here, and I'll just have to just listen to it a little bit longer and be able to understand what this is all about. I'm still confused about it, Jessica.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, I understand. No, because you didn't come in from the beginning, and it's just essentially evolved. And the only thing I know is that the information comes through, and I guess the thing with Metis, it's very, very organic. That means that it could be a storyline of even a spirit that just passed over. There's a part of that seems very, very organic. So maybe that's part of what you're picking up, but we can discuss it later. So just what we can do is we're going to finish the transmission. We have Andronicus to pick up next, And that's his perspective of what was happening and how he felt. And then we're going to go into Rhodan. And, I understand, Max, that, and I know that you have a very, you feel very passionate about certain things. And I respect you very much. And I respect that, what we went through with the show. And I know that, your show last night but we'll discuss whatever you want to discuss regarding it. Okay.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah. You also got to understand that Metis is the weirdest, crazy. Metis and Borkum are like, they're the weird end of things. I mean, Borkum's like Brian Blessed. He punches a polar bear, that kind of guy. Okay. Probably a bit like you, probably.
He was like a titan.
He's a titan.
So,
yeah, these are all titans, like Prometheus, right? Prometheus comes in later, right? So the thing about, Metis, he's always making up stupid songs, he's talking rubbish. He's like the Monty Python end of these transmissions. I mean, he's basically, like Jessica was saying, he's delving into the human experience in all ways. And because he knows he's immortal, then he'll, throw himself into a saw blade just to see what that feels like, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there are others who are much more serious, and Rhodan is the most serious because he's like daddy of them all. Shall I read Rhodan until I can get Andronicus?
Yeah, I just sent Andronicus. I don't know if that's coming through or not.
Yeah, we have something here.
Yeah. Max, if you can go into different channels, and you go into different channels, you might be able to pick it up. I mean, I had to go into different channels to connect in with your stuff.
Here we go.
And they're all in just different vibratory channels.
Okay, we have 39. Save as. Just save that somewhere on the desktop. 39. I mean, put 29 as well. So, Andronicus next? Or Rhodan?
Yes.
Andronicus.
Andronicus.
Okay, hang on. I have. Where is it? Andronicus, 39. I searched for answers in so many ways. My experience seemed to be a collection of unplanned events that often resulted in mistakes, regrets, and mishaps. I don't think it was all supposed to be that way. I journeyed often and left a mark wherever I went. Yet there was always an aftertaste, a bitterness coupled with the sweet. That was me, leaving a mixed memory of my visit. If I can only leave with something good, without judgment and remorse, I would be satisfied in the end. I'm here observing a plant. Many say it's not a plant, but I can see that it could be a plant. It is a seed that has not yet germinated. I will prove to them that can grow.
A loud noise cropped up as visitors entered the camp. Andronicus came out from the brush and strained to see the visitors. There it became obvious that Borkum was headed toward him with a strange, disheveled look, looking like a peasant. As they drew closer, Andronicus could see it was Metis. He froze, holding his breath involuntarily as he thought about his last experience of torment from Metis. Yet there he was humbled and weak. Andronicus gasped and let out a sigh of relief. Metis' eyes looked glazed over and didn't seem to recognize Andronicus.
Andronicus, come hither and see who I've brought to you. I know you had issue with Metis in the past. This is the time to air your differences. What say you, sir?
Said Andronicus in a bold tone. Metis shuddered at the sound of authority, and Andronicus ceased from any type of interrogation. Everyone was beginning to be relaxed.
Send him to the recovery bed where we can examine the injuries and his mental and memory status. It'll all be resolved soon. We shall retrieve our data and see what needs to happen next. I agree. I am anxious to discover what Metis has been through and what he has seen.
Metis collapsed before them, and other Andronicus medics rushed forward and brought him to a bed to recover his data and assist his healing.
Let's have our libations on the outboarders so we can talk openly. Yes, my friend, there is so much more before us. Let's begin with a drink and a vow to help one another more for future events. I shall welcome that, my friend. We've both had a very long journey. Behold, one of our females. Choose one of our females for your time here. I have already chosen her. Allow me to return the favor. So this is like a real-time psychic reality show, kind of played out. Voices provided by actors. So what the heck's going on? Poor old. So we're seeing the same event from different perspectives of the characters that are playing out the dramas in their experiences.
I think they wanted me to see that they're collecting, and it seems like that different ones are collecting together now at the same time. So as they were separated and they were all going on all these different journeys, and now you see this convergence where they're all coming together again. And it's like a meeting place. Not really sure what time period this is, but it seems that, because when they're traveling from different locations, it could be at different time periods, but still arriving at the same location at the same time, almost like a meeting place or a gathering. So, and it looks like a lot of the crew is back there together.
That's right. I mean, we have to tell Max that they were literally a crew of an Andromedan craft that has, it's like Star Trek. I mean, it really has kind of been like a real-time live Star Trek happening in front of Jessica's third eye camera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd like to think that I was this creative and this good of a writer, and I just have myself but I mean, I'm really that the information's coming in spontaneously, so I don't even sit around and think about it. Just I start to see it and watch it, and then I write it down. And then, the conversation, I'll start asking questions as it goes, or trying to explain what I'm seeing, and then going from there. But why don't we go right into Rhodan, and then we can because he mentions some things that, and here again, Max, I hope you take these, and this is not typical, probably what you're accustomed to, but just we're asking that you be a little open-minded and just see that maybe there is something here that they wanted you to be on the show. So, Rhodan in particular. So we're going to do his message next.
So I've got a new one for Rhodan, this one. I'm here to tell you that I'm in charge now. All of my wayward sons have returned and we are in harmonious status. They reside with me now, no longer being persuaded by the archonic pull filtering through well-intentioned beings. It is all left behind me. As my sons return, they peel off the layers of control, deceit, corruption, hatred, malice, jealousy, toxic competition, all manner of volatile, unrequited recklessness that poisons the field of everyday society. The more good and loving fatherly instruction I introduced by my sons, the more the Archons poisoned it. Being that it was a free will arena, the energies thrived according to the level and degree of the society's preference as a whole. Thus, The human experience reach both high awareness and low awareness. We are all one. You are forever my children. Nothing can separate that except for me. However, I choose not to embrace the toxic membranes of blackened nightmares of humanity. I will allow them to go down that path alone until they choose to turn on the light. It is an innate darkness within that they have chosen. So be it. Furthermore, those discarnate beings, archons and jealous species of humanity, shall not thrive. They will find that they cannot move into the light realm and will feel as if lead is heavy upon their bodies. They shall no longer fly as before and be free within all ranges of space-time. Of time-space. You ask, why would you speak to other species while speaking with humans? It is merely because you are all entangled. Your galactic connections have been part of your experience as long as your human family has been here. There are those who ridicule individuals as yourself for not understanding what it is to be standing in the bridge between dimensions. This is the reason why I called forth my faithful servant, Max, to join you today. He has been diligent in working with us, filling the gap and holding the space for others who could no longer hold their own space. His heavy work is nearly done. He will be blessed to seek and search new industries, new horizons, and new joys. I have given him the keys to the kingdom of his field of expertise. I will make him the watcher over many who need the guidance. However, he will no longer be able to stand in the gap for rebellion. That has ended. It is time for everybody to realize that they will be held responsible for decisions of the heart and actions. My word is set. This is my domain, this is my rule, and none will be able to change it. Regarding Max, he shall be the spiritual head of all super soldiers and the like. I've left him in charge. He was under my forces. I will not disclose what my name was at that time. He knew me and obeyed me. Today I will come forward and reveal another name that I go by. It is Apollo. Yes, the Apollo. I flew the chariot of fire in the air. It was me. I am expecting that all my children will return to me who reigned with me over the ages. Many and most have been faithful in carrying the torch. The Emerthas are now letting go of your experience. They crept in while many of my children were sleeping or caught up in the tales of the past. I shall help find them a place of recluse and hopefulness. They will be given another home if they so choose. It has been a wearisome time for them all. We were pleased to discover that they did not want a red planet, hot and boiling liquids of molten chambers. This was their typical preference, or blue planet, barren ice-like or watery shelves. Instead, they requested a green planet with other living beings. If we are successful, they may also invite animals or other species to join them. This was part of their problem. They were highly exclusive and chose not to live with others. It was a part of your experience to understand why this all happened. You needed to understand what it was like to be controlled by beings who do not match your emotional makeup. They are cold and isolating from your perspective. Within their society, it was natural for them to be who they are, multitaskers and able to do the work of hundreds of men. They can multitask mentally and even single-handedly run a nation with ease. You could learn much from them. It is striking sense of organization skill. We brought them forward from inception with much of the same tools as humans have. This is how they evolved. They chose to focus on mental awareness rather than deeper capacity of physical indulgences. I'm not saying that you should change, but you are resentful of their intelligence and ability to traverse the galaxy. You could have had the same but chose not to as a race. Determination and devotion, along with nurturing, can create great strides in the direction of a society. Nothing happens accidentally, as is all developed and nurtured with intention. The stratosphere is also quite tainted by echoes of vibratory messages. The Earth is not fully prepared for the new arrivals that Max is assisting. I shall awaken others to help in this cause.
I've had many visitations and discussions over this week, and I know some of this has been monumental, and the reason why things are changing so rapidly. Some of the visitations are related to ancient connections of human antiquities. Some are within your sphere, as I assisted the reunion of you and some of your sons. One strange visit was from the being called Bacchus, who revealed himself to me on St. Patrick's Day. He was angry at me, and yet seemed very troubled.
I don't know how to explain this to you, but he has been as an enemy of yours. His heart was very bitter, and I sent many of his friends to ask him to subside in his actions. He has used very aggressive measures to get your attention. I can see you have little patience for this, and I am allowing you to do as you will to counteract it. Do not seek him out. He is searching for Metis as well to destroy him. As you can see, Metis needed to be pulled off planet. This would be a destructive force against him and almost created a serious breach.
Why is he so angry and contrary?
Because he was in favor of the Hey-Ra, in particular to Hera. She left him with the duty to destroy you at all costs. I have followed his path to make sure he didn't do that. Unfortunately, he has created some strange entanglements around you that will be released today. He came to you as a threat on St. Patrick's Day to keep you immobilized by the large consumption of alcohol. When he faced you and saw you for the first time, he became flustered. The illusion was removed, and he saw you merely as a female human. He wept and cried out for Hera to explain what happened. This is when the battle began. She began to lash out with all methods of anger and cruelty, all of which will return to her tenfold. I have left you in charge of that dimensional sphere. No one will be able to interfere with it again.
What happens to Bacchus? Will he return to bother me in the future?
No, never in that capacity. You had to get through the layers of aggression in order to open his eyes to the truth. He's now in a state of confusion. When he let go of the ability to obtain louche, as you know it, from the human race consuming alcohol. It will no longer have the same universal control it once had. I warned him about abusing his power. Alcohol will be as toxic venom to him going forward. I'm giving this charge to your influence. Be careful not to indulge with alcohol in an angry heart or full of sorrow. Only with amorous thoughts and emotions.
I will be mindful to do so. And you know I don't drink much. I suppose that's the reason why.
Yes, you are less likely to abuse this substance.
Can I ask you about the fermentation, and that is often associated with yeast, that is associated with the production of bread and other bread products. Primus and I have spoken about what he calls the nung or the yeast being a problem. Is it because of Bacchus and his anger?
Yes, the yeast or fermentation process is not bad if managed properly. It brings in the friendly bacteria as well that were intended to be harmonious with the human body. Bacchus's anger brought disharmony to everything he attached to. Many wars were introduced to Ares through him. He would indulge him in drink before planting the seed of aggression towards a specific group or race. We have much to discuss about these matters at another time.
So what happened to Bacchus, and where has he gone?
He's in a place of reform where we can monitor him. When he discovers he can no longer gather the louche, he will be violent. I don't want you in harm's way when that happens. I have sent him off to unknown regions for the time being. Don't worry about him. He will be able to spend quality time with his beloved beast, Hera, to see a mirror of his unsavory actions. Within a week of your time, he will be begging us to dismiss him from this nightmare. That is all we need to do to reform him. Send him to an isolated location with her alone. It will be an unimaginable hell. Each one who insisted on her ruling shall suffer the same. The experience of Andronicus in the opium den was his prison alone with her. I promise you he will never bring in another rebellious beast, enhance it with power, and allow it in my sphere again. I promise you, each one will be visited by their own private hell of Hera. All of the species of the Gobin or Hera have been taken away. Many did not survive the journey out of the planetary regions. They were so coddled and pampered that they forgot how to survive. There are still many who have adjusted and are more helpful on the planet. They shall remain.
Another visitor that I've seen has been Artemis. Tell me how she is connected to me.
She too was in rebellion and manipulating the human experience. Despite the epoch of lore and the stories of the ancients, Artemis was never my sister. She was another female we brought into the family along with Dionysus. Both have been disobedient and abused their power, gathering loosh as they went. Artemis brought in dissension and warfare from her many encounters with Ares. She also allied with Hera in her effort to rule and manipulate my domain. I had given Artemis many chances to abort her missions of destruction. I had given her the opportunity to incarnate and clear her focus into more positive endeavors as opposed to challenges of meaningless conflicts. She was never satisfied unless much bickering occurred. She destroyed nations upon nations with offensive conflict and dissension. I never gave her the ability to misuse her power. She gained loosh from conflict, anger, and bitter conflicts. You were also one of her key proponents. As you engaged in that attitude, she gained much loosh. Her goal was to be eternally beautiful. It was going to be in that direction. It was going in that direction until I changed the outcome. She is far from looking like the maiden and more like the crone. She is now brought down to being Hecate. Kate, nothing more. Kate. The last to discuss is Dionysus. He will not surrender his manipulation of love and romance. I had warned him of this, and even with destructive outcomes regarding conquests, he refuses to subside in his effort to taunt the human experience. He has sent desire for wine and turmoil mixed with heartache. It is a blunder of amorous affairs, discounted partnerships, misaligned loves, a mix of poisonous, infected obsessions of malice. I can't send him off alone because he thrives on it. If I send him to other regions, he poisons it. I've sent him to you because you're the only one who can neutralize him. It is a bitter mess. Please hang on and don't abort the mission. It'll soon be over. Tell Primus he is gaining control and his healing will pass quickly. Be of good faith and endure. The light is shining brightly before you. Your father Shiva is proud of your works and the works of Primus and others who have helped. Rhodan. Damn, where's the mouse? All right, so that's our transmissions for the day. Holy. That was an energy, wasn't it? Wow, I could really feel it coursing through my body. It's like two stone pillars, two columns of stone.
Yeah, very solid.
Yeah. Okay, so Max.
I'm afraid to talk to Max. He's gonna be like, what?
This is all bad. All right.
We're still him, I think, or something.
I'm here.
So Max, are you any the wiser? Does it make any sense to you?
No.
There's so much that you've missed, so it would be hard to just jump in, I guess. But you know what? It doesn't matter, Max. how about this? We're here, grateful that you're here, and let's talk. Let's talk about whatever's on your mind and what you want to bring in. And
maybe I shouldn't say what's on my mind and what I picked up on and analyzed everything. I don't want to go there.
oh no, well, let's talk about what you want to talk about then.
Well, like I was writing in the chat room here, many craft have left Earth. 7 were escorted just a little while ago. The removal of the reptilian race, the Archons, the Greys, Draconians, it's in effect right now. They know that they cannot win. What it was said last night. Some of them are hesitating, and but they know they cannot win. There's too many of us here, and some of them not going to go peacefully. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're not going to go peacefully. So we might have. I'm not going to get involved in this, but the eco are not going to take it. They are going to remove them, whatever it takes to remove them.
Right. I actually saw some separating from. I saw some this morning that were attached to some people, and then they separated out, and they were jumping into timelines. They were stepping out like they were trying to dodge the bullet that you put out there last night. So they're running scared. They're definitely running scared. I witnessed that this morning.
Yes. There's some things that are going to start to happen throughout the planet, and being informed of it, I do have family members of Earth that are involved in the White Hats Society, and they have told me that there's going to be a lot of hesitation, but force is going to be needed to do this, and I'm glad I'm not involved in that. I'm not in that. I don't use violence, no matter what it takes to remove the enemy. I don't use violence, but the ecos will use violence because that's their nature. And they've had in the past problems with the reptilians. And so they are going to take care of it.
Yeah.
Can you,
sorry, go ahead. Please, you first.
Can you explain to the listening audience who the ecos are and where they come from?
The eco come from different universe. The third universe, the fifth and seventh universe. They come from there. They're many thousands of years ago. The reptilian and the draconians took many of their people into enslavement and abused them and killed many of them, millions of them. And when a few of the ecos got away, they went into in hiding, and they asked for help from the Lyra people. And they showed them how to defend themselves. And before Lyra gave them spacecraft so they can travel, they had to make sure that they weren't going to use this technology to go at the reptilians and the draconians. So what they did was they didn't do anything for that time. But they actually saved some of their, there was a small station And in the third universe, the planet, I believe it was, name was, MIK-14 or something. It's not a name, it's just letters. And they went there and, they were able to defeat the, reptilians there and take possessions of their ships that were there, and they learned everything about the reptilian race from that ship they recovered, and they got help from another race that had escaped from the reptilian also. They came together and they start building these incredible ships with the other races that I cannot say them yet. I've been told not to say who they are. But they start to help them to show them how to build these special ships and technology that the reptilian did not know about. So they built their armies in the millions and built many thousands of ships, and they start to attack the reptilians, and they defeated the reptilians. So now there are more ecos than there are reptilians and draconians alive just now. So the ecos have decided that they know that the reptilians fear them. So that's why they're here. And they told me last night and earlier, just a little while ago, that they were actually on our ship, the Ecos, the commander, and they told me that they understand that we're not violent people, but excuse me, the presence of my people in their spacecraft out there means a lot. And we're not going to move from where we're at. We're going to stay right where we're at. But we do have warriors on our ship. They're not our warriors. They're actually, well, I'm not allowed to say these warriors' names, but there are warriors on our ships right now. Each ship has a total of 5 million warships inside our ships. And we have 6 ships, so we have about 30 million small crafts. So, they're like they're warships, small warships. Like if you have here F-16s and F-22s, we have about 30 million up there. And they're ready to take off whenever it's needed. But we're not going to do that. We're trying not to get involved. We won't get involved. But the Ecos asked us if we needed needed to have those ships be presence around the planet so the reptilians can see it. They'll have second salt and they'll leave peacefully. So it's a touch and go right now.
Now, last night we were listening to Likuda, is the commander?
Yes.
And you described what the ecos look like, or he described what he looked like. And when you were channeling him, I could see that the energy had clearly changed. Your I can pick up your emotion, your energy, and personality, so forth. And there was definitely a change in the personality when you began to channel him.
Yes.
And he's very, very gentle, but strong. And also, kind of, I could pick up he was sage-like, old, having much experience. And you said he said that he was purple skinned, and it was wearing a black armor and brown eyes. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So
That's
people
how
can
they look.
identify.
That's how they look. That's how they look. Yes.
So that way, if someone actually sees them, that they won't be frightened and think that they're, you know, and anytime we see something we're not familiar with, we automatically get the impression that they're bad. And
Yeah.
so,
Well, if you look at them face to face, it gives you the impression that they're bad and that they're negative, but they're not. They're actually, these people are warriors, and that's all they've done for thousands of years is fight all types of negative beings out there. But they do look like they look like they're negative, and but they're not.
but you know, I think about the Anunnaki who look like warriors to me. They're you know, they look like they don't do anything else but get into war. Do you know what I'm talking about? That similar type of military looking being.
Yeah.
Have you interacted with the Anunnaki?
No, we never had any. We never had the pleasure to be in their presence. No.
I had a vision where somehow I was observing what looked like a cave-like structure, and the reptilians were actually put in these openings where there were sort of like bars, and they were imprisoned. And it might have been Anu. I don't know for sure, but I literally saw him walking down a corridor as if he was just walking past them. And then I witnessed like, a breakout of the reptilians and coming at him.
Yeah.
It was a really weird moment. I could actually observe his gait and how he walked. And, but they're humanoid, but not humanoid. I mean, he was tall and lean, but he was wearing a whole body armor, that gave him like a kind of a strange, rugged looking, like it wasn't a skin, but it was like a bodysuit of some sort. But it was very, very, uneasing to watch the whole thing. I don't even know how I was able to observe it. I just watched it. And then I stepped out. You know, I was pulled out when the battle got in, to something bigger. So they had put them in prison, the reptilians. The reptilians seem to just have been, a problem for every society. It seems like every society, one time or another, had to interact with them. Like they were like on a conquest, sort of like, and for a lack of a better comparison, they were sort of like the Vikings, the way the Vikings were. They just got in their boats and they went from a location and would take over. And I see that the reptilians would sort of do that. They just kind of go in there and just take over wherever they went.
Yeah. Well, back in those times, reptilians were in numbers. There were many, many, many of them. I mean, I would say billions of them. But now it's not like that at all. Their numbers are not very high anymore. A lot of their, star systems, which they travel to many star systems and many different universes to conquer planets and invade their planets. These reptilians have been destroyed. And now, the races that were invaded and, all the people killed, some of them stayed alive and were able to escape and merge with other beings. And they have actually, have come together and they're fighting along each other, with these reptilians. And the reptilians are not, they're no number anymore like they used to thousands of years ago. It's getting to a point where, yeah, it's getting to a point where it's less and less now. They did have a large colony on the planet Earth, above ground, but mostly underground. And these bases that they were acquiring are very few now. There's not that many underground anymore. They have been, a lot of them have been destroyed, and the wars that's out there in space, some of that's already it's about to be over very soon. They just don't have it anymore. The Draconians, which also a part of them, are not as many as they used to be. The reason why the Draconian reptilian came to Earth was to be able to breed with the humanoids here on this planet. So what's going on is they wanted to duplicate and triplicate the race, and somehow it has backfire. And the backfire happened because the Draconian and Reptilian were tricked. They were tricked into believing that they could breed with the humanoids. But some of the humanoids that from higher dimensions have tricked Draconian and Reptilian that it would be easy to breed with the human race, and but they can't. It just doesn't work. They have gone to other alternative by using the Greys to do this, and the Greys have had problems with it too. They've been able to do certain things, but the way they've been doing it now, the Draconians and the Reptilians and the Greys, is by cloning. And they have figured out how to split the spirit and soul of a humanoid. They figured out how to split the spirit and soul. And so that's what's been going on. And but it's not 100%. There are many glitches. There are many glitches in all this. So
were they successful in creating hybrid humans? Which, we hear about that often, is there's hybrid human Greys, right? Hybrid human reptilians.
Yes.
Where are they? Are they dwelling amongst us, or where? Are they in the military?
Some of them are in the military as super soldiers, and also in our governments. A lot of the high officials that you see in our government in the United States are actually clones. The reptilian were trying to shapeshift by merging with the spirit and soul of the humanoid here on Earth, but they've had a lot of problems. They have not been able to do it right. So, like for example, Hillary Clinton, it's actually a clone, but they also have copies of her, and actually the one that's actually talking in the vase, it's really her. Okay, but they don't leave her. Once she does the debate, they remove her completely and put a clone in her place. And her mind is totally in control, completely. She's very evil, and she needs to be removed completely. And not only just that, but they need to remove all these high officials that are causing problems. But not me, it's specific. I know what's going on. A lot of people out there in the public does not know what's going on. I do know what's going on. I don't talk about it too much because they tell me not to say anything. These secret forces that are working with the government of many nations here on Earth, they are getting ready to bring justice to this planet with the help of the Eco, the Andromedan, and the Arcturians that are here. And there's going to be some changes very soon. Is that the bad guys has always got that extra way to slip out of being captured. It's always been like that, but
yeah,
you even see in movies too, where they get ready to be captured, and all of a sudden they slip right through. It's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same thing happens to them too. So it's.
Well, look at the Hitler regime. I mean, they just sort of disappeared, didn't they? It's convenient. End up in Argentina somewhere, and other parts of the world, Antarctica, wherever they went. So, I mean, they're planning. They know where they're going to go next. One of the questions that came up while you were talking was, do you have an idea who's going to be actually in the presidency? Who's going to win? Who's going to be running the nation?
I do know, but I can't say. I'm sorry, but if I said something about it, it could damage it. And I got to leave it alone. I'm sorry, but I can't say. I know it's going to win. I know it's going to happen, but I'm not. I swore. Well, I didn't have to swear, but I was. I said I was going to say anything, but
okay. No, I respect that.
It's got to be done like this. There's a lot of things going on that is not been said because we want to make things that work. And if you start telling everybody about it, it's going to ruin the chances of making things work for sure. I see here in the chat room, it says here the UK Queen. But the UK Queen is not and she's not in England at all. She happens to be in an underground base in Denver. And she's being guarded by some of her special forces.
The British Queen is in Denver?
Yes, ma'am, she is. She is. She was kicked out of the throne probably about 3 months ago, and they have she was brought to the United States, and she is being guarded 24/7. We know where she's at. All of our forces know where she's at. And they have special forces from the English government that are protecting her, that are part of that regime that she belongs to. Mm-hmm. And she will pay for what she's done for the time she's been here alive. She's very evil, so.
So who's in charge right now?
We're in United Kingdom?
Yes.
Well, the Queen is not really in charge of England. It's I believe they use prime ministers over there.
Yeah, no, I understand.
We got Porky. It's essentially she's the CEO of the Crown Corporation. Which is the Crown Corporation is, if anybody knows anything, that's the thing that runs everything. That's the Crown, not the Queen herself. The Queen can die, but the Crown Corporation can survives and focuses through the monarch, whoever it is. And as we know that, in MK, a monarch is a puppet, isn't it, Max?
Yes, it is. What JP said, that's correct.
So, all right. So she's going to be. Is she going to be? They going to show that she's passing soon, or what are they going to do that brings in this other kind of? I won't say facade, but whoever comes into reign next, as the key figure.
Well, I'm going to be. I don't know if I can say this. If they allow me to say it. The Queen right now Queen Elizabeth is more reptile than human right now. Her abilities as a human is no longer there. It's more reptile than reality. And they have a way to control that because of their abilities, their technology they can have. But I know I can't go any further than that. I'm not allowed to. Okay. But you got to understand that. Oh man, this is. I think I've had enough of this stuff, and I think I get sometimes, because I am using a human body. Sometimes my people get a little disappointed in me because sometimes I want to cross over to the other side and really destroy everyone in there. I have the ability to do that. I have sometimes points in me that I control the violent inside me because I used to be a soldier, and I was in the special forces for 10 years, and I was involved in a lot of crazy stuff when I was there. And it was very difficult for me to take a life away when I was a soldier, because it was my duty to do what I had to do. But really I didn't want to, but if I didn't do it, I will be arrested and put in prison like a lot of innocent guys are in there. But I had to do that. I was also trained as a super soldier. All kinds of injections were put in my body, this body here. And I had become so out of it that I fought with it. And finally I won. And a lot of the medication that was being put inside this body, I was able to fight it and remove it. My people helped me a lot. I was also I was tortured many, many times by two races, the reptilians and the draconians. They torture me many, many times. And especially the reptilian, they really did a number on me, and also was involved in MK Ultra. They tried to really mess up my mind, but because of who I was and where I came from, my people start to come in closer to me, and they show me how to release all that. So they could not brainwash me. I faked it many times, so they didn't think. But later on, they caught on that their method was not working with me, because I learned their techniques, and I learned to fight it, and I won from it. So I know what they do. I know exactly what they do a lot of times, especially they do this technique on this radio station that I'm going to name right now. I don't like to name radio stations, but JP, Revolution Radio has a lot of problems. And a lot of that's being used in that radio station. I told the owner of that radio station 2 years ago, Nighthawk, that there was a frequency that was planted inside their servers. And he laughed in my face. He didn't believe me. So they hired somebody very special in this kind of stuff. And that person that was hired to find it, he said he did find it. And I was right in what I told him. And he believed me. And I gave him the frequencies. And that person went in there and found those frequencies hidden in the servers. And it was creating mind control. And they're still doing it. They're still doing it. The guy that was hired to do this actually is a secret agent, which Revolution Radio doesn't know. He is an MI6 agent. I happen to know him. MI6 has contacted me because one of their agents got really messed up real bad on a mission, and they asked me for my help, which I didn't want to give them help, but this is a human being. It doesn't matter wherever he worked, he's a human being. And I helped him, and I released what he was involved in, and I removed everything from him because they tried and they couldn't do it. So they asked my help, and I did it. I removed everything that he was involved in, and he's retired from MI6. He quit. He resigned because he just couldn't do it anymore. But I have also I asked MI6 that I want them to do something for me, since I helped one of their agents. I asked them because, the MI6 is like the NSA of England and also Australia. And they asked me, I asked them, can you check to see if I'm in the NSA blacklist and blacklist, which is black flag, red flag. And they looked and they saw my real name in there, not Captain Max Steel, but Tony Diaz. They did see my name in there, and I asked them to remove it, and they did. They showed me proof that they did. So they removed me from there. I'm sorry I did this, but I had to. I'm telling the truth about everything here. Sometimes I have to bend a few rules because don't want to give out certain information because a lot of I'm very highly connected in this body with many of the secret society that's helping us, helping Earth to become free of enslavement. And so far they have done it. So we just have to bear with this. We've been fighting, the Earth people have been fighting for over 5,000 years, and now we're within a month or two close of everything disappearing. So you just have the faith and be at the highest love that you are in, and just help your neighbor. Forgive those who have done bad things to you and your family. Just forgive them. Send love to them.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I send love to my enemies. I do have enemies, human enemies, but I do forgive them and I send love to them all the time, and especially a person that I just helped recently. She had turned against me. I do forgive her, and I do send love to her, and that's all we can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the hardest, is when you try to help people and they don't understand at the time. So, yeah. They're in their own personal misery, and whoever's closest to them is who they lash out to, even if you're trying to help. It's not
Yes.
always, we do our best and have to step away from it, and, not be jaded and go back in there and help others again, cause many times you help people that appreciate it and it's just like I felt like I was very helped by you yesterday.
Yeah.
I was able to, release something that wasn't mine that I was holding on to and didn't know it, wasn't aware of it until we started talking. So that was that, metal box we talked about.
Yeah.
But anyhow, JP, did you want to say any last words? Because we have only a few minutes left, and anything else that was addressed, that Max was talking about?
Well, it start from the beginning of Andronicus's thing where he says, wherever he went, he left a mark, and there was always an aftertaste and a bitterness and a sweetness. There was always a plus and a minus. And, wouldn't it be good to leave, to move on without judgment and remorse? And, so that would be a good way, I think, is how do we leave this in a sweet way, a sweet, harmonious way? Max?
Well, I think I've said enough. Let's give you and Jessica a chance to speak.
Well, I'll say this, Max. You have a lot of heart and soul. You have a lot of caring. I know that you've invested hours upon hours and so quick to want to help others, so quick to want to share the truth and information that's in your heart. And I respect that. And, I know that, JP does as well. And I know that many people don't understand what you possibly have gone through. It's incomprehensible to the average civilian. I only know I understand you to some degree through empathy, but clearly I haven't gone through that. I've had my own share of challenges, and being a seer, people do get attacked. So I understand that aspect of it. So I'm 100% with you. I understand. And you know what? I know that we might not be, there will be things here and there that we're not 100%, in alignment with, but that's fine because as a person, I think that you're an incredible person. And, I love you and I wish you well and, we'll be supporting you in what you're doing and I'm here as a friend. And I appreciate you. I appreciate, all that you've done. And I know that you've done quite a bit for, not just for your own, gain, but for, helping the planet, which is very unselfish. And so thank you, so much for being on my show today. And thank you so much for, inviting me on yours the past couple of nights. Past two shows that I've been on.
Well, you're very welcome. I really want to thank you for allowing me to be here today. I'm beginning to understand what the stories were, but I just want to tell you, people out there, I have spilled my blood everywhere in this planet. And not only that, I have 8 Purple Hearts and 2 Silver Stars. And I really don't care about that. All I care is about being a patriot and also saving this planet from the evil that's here, which in a very short time, it's not going to be here anymore. And we can all live in peace and love. And thank you, JP, for allowing me to be a part of the host here in this network, because this network is definitely the place where you'll find the love that everybody's looking for. And thank you, JP, and thank you, Jessica.
As they say here in the Celtic land, it's where the crack is. This has been Answers from the Universe.
Yes. We'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us. We love you all.